Hey guys, if you haven't voted for JRPG of the Year for 2011 yet, I suggest you do so. All you gotta do is to link in the description or link in the annotation. It'll take you to the voting page. Just leave a comment leaving 3 JRPGs that you think were the best of this year, and I'll tally the votes up. And I think maybe next week I will announce the winner. So just vote there. What up, guys? You know who it is, Shadow Elite. And, hold on one second. There we go. Okay, and this video is pretty much on the release date of Tales of Graces F. Now, in this video, there's really not much I can cover when it comes to, go out, buy the game, support it. I've already made a video like that, support Tales of Graces F. And, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Promote it, tell your friends about it, go on the Facebook page. Continue to like it, do what you gotta do, because if you want to see other games released, this one has to sell well regardless. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more on that, but not too much. Okay, so let's talk about the March 13th, 2012 release date. It's a week after Mass Effect 3 comes out. Mass Effect 3 is gonna be a mind-blowing game. It's gonna sell like hotcakes. Now, you still got a week later. The sales will probably die down considerably, but still, they're still going to be strong for Mass Effect 3. But, you now have other people going to the store and buying Tales of Graces. Now, when you're comparing two games in the terms of sale-wise and who's going to get them, like Mass Effect 3 and Tales of Graces, it's pretty much apples and oranges. You're comparing apples and oranges, and that's just they're both completely different sets of audiences. And one audience is gonna get Mass Effect 3. No, they're gonna get Mass Effect 3. A lot of them at that. And some people are gonna get Tales of Graces, which is kind of good because I never understood why some of these companies do that. They release games they release games next to big league games. And there's only one logical explanation I can think of. If you're not going to do any advertisement, or if you're not going to promote it in any way, shape, or form, wouldn't it be a good idea to have your game release when a lot of people are going to the store? Think about it for a second. If there are a whole lot of people going to the store to get one game, the chances are that some of those people are honestly going to look around the store and they're going to see some other game that they probably like. I mean, let's just say I'm going to buy Mass Effect 3 a week or two after it came out. And I don't know anything about Tales of Graces, but I'm kind of an anime guy. I go to the store, I go get Mass Effect 3. Of course, like most people that shop at GameStop, they don't leave the store immediately. They take the time to look around. They look around the place for what other games they can actually buy and what other games are out. So then they look around the place after they buy it and they see, oh, Tales of Graces. What is this game? Oh, this game looks pretty interesting. But I just bought Mass Effect 3, so I really can't buy another game at the moment. So that game, Tales of Graces is in the back of their mind. It's in the back of their mind. They're thinking about maybe getting it after they get Mass Effect 3. And that's a couple of people come in, they're probably doing just that, So that's like, I guess you could say that's a sales strategy, but it's not the best thing for companies to rely on that. I think I'm just trying to think about it logical here because I never saw the point. I never saw the point. If you're gonna release a JRPG, I really suggest doing it, in my personal opinion, doing it during the summer because no games come out during the summer. Summer is always a drought when it comes to gaming, and there's nothing coming out on the summer gaming wise. And that's the perfect time for people to just like, oh, I want to play some games, but no games are coming out until September, October, November. Let's go to GameStop and look at what games are coming out. Oh, Tales of Graces. Oh, that looks pretty awesome. Let me buy that game until September, October, November. That's a pretty good thing. But then again, if there aren't that many games being released in September, why would people go to the game store? You see what I'm saying? But then again, people go to the game store just to, like I said, just to go and pick up something to play. But like I said, I'm trying to find the logical explanation here. Okay, let's talk about how Tales of Graces could possibly do. Now, when it comes to Namco Bandai, I really honestly think their sales standards are way too high. I mean, it's just too high. It's much too high for you to expect a game like Tales of Graces, a game that you don't advertise, a game that you don't promote. Hell, maybe you could put the Japanese demo or, release the demo because the Japanese demo is there. Why not just release the demo? I don't see why not. But let's talk about how it's going to do. Compared to Namco Bandai standards, honestly, guys, I think it's barely gonna make it. It's probably not gonna do as good as Namco Bandai was gonna hope so. But I think it's barely gonna make it. I mean, everything that people are doing, Project Layhant, they doing a thing to make mass awareness of Tales of Graces so people can buy it. But even with all the support and support to my other video, I think it's just barely gonna make it, and that's just because of Namco Bandai's impossible standards when it comes to sales of these types of games. I mean, like, let's look at what games we got released this year. Hyperdimensional Neptunia. They're bringing over Hyperdimensional Neptunia 2. And that game, could you really expect that game to really sell that well? I mean, it couldn't have sold that well. I mean, seriously. But they're bringing it over. They're bringing it over in the game, and that's America doing that. That's America is bringing over Hyperdimensional Neptunia. I can't imagine that did so good sales-wise, but it probably did. It probably did good. And then you got a game that's even worse. It's even Nechi. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but whatever. It's called Record of August War. Record of August War 1 came out, I think, 2 years ago, and then this year it came out with Record of August War 0. And who does Record of August games localization? Access Games. Access Games. They do the localization for Record of August War games. I can't possibly imagine that Record of August War 1 and Record of August War 0 got good sales. I can't imagine that. But you know what? It was probably good enough for Access Game standards. That's what they were probably good. And that's probably the bar that you probably want to set your game if you honestly think this game is going to sell. Especially when you don't do promotion and you don't do advertisements. I mean, seriously, Access Games, NES America, hell, even Exceed Games, they're bringing over JRPGs that are not very well known. They're bringing it over here, and they have a certain standard of sales that they expect to go through because they know this game isn't really that well known. But they bring these games over here either way. And like I said, Access Games just announced Record of August War 2 to be released in summer 2012. Like I said, you gotta believe that August 1 and August 0 pretty much didn't sell that great. I'm not saying they didn't sell well, but they had to have some sales for them to honestly consider or localize August 2. But they can't be like ridiculously high. Namco Bandai really has a ridiculously high standard. I mean, what can you expect? If I would have to guess, Namco Bandai is probably in the top 15 of game developers or game localizations or whatever they do. They're probably in the top 15 of games. Probably somewhere in the top 10. So they really don't want to, I guess you could say, take their chances on localizing a game that they're pretty much probably going to lose money from. But still, Namco Bandai, your standards are just much too high. I mean, seriously, if you're going to do that, why not just hand over the Tales localization team, the whole localization process to people like NES America, Exceed, or Access Games. Let them handle it. They'd be more than happy to do it. I mean, Exceed Games does a tremendous job with localizing and doing the good script and writing the dialogue for the game. Because I can vouch for that. I played Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. Great game. The translation was excellent. And it didn't even need voice acting. That's how great the game is. Doesn't need voice acting. That the dialogue still goes fluently. You can still, get a good sense of what the characters are about. That's just good writing and good translation. And Exceed Games, my hat tips off to you for that. Possibly. Okay, so yeah, possibly high standards when it comes to sales. Let me talk about one more thing, or maybe another thing. I'm not sure how many reasons I got here. One thing that I can think of. For the people that say they're not gonna buy the game, Tales of Graces, you're not gonna buy the game if it doesn't have dual audio. Why would you do that? Because it doesn't have dual audio. I understand there's a war, or there's always debates going about what's better, the dub or the sub, or Japanese language to English translations. But seriously, there's a mute button, guys. Just put the game on mute. I mean, is it that hard to just put the game on mute, especially when the translation is great? Like I said with Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, the translation in that game is so great it doesn't need voice acting. And that's why I think Tales of Graces lands it. It doesn't need voice acting to actually come across as great. But then again, you're in America, guys. What's the problem here in the game in English? I mean, maybe your standards is just as ridiculous as Namco Bandai standards when it comes to sales. I mean, nowadays, English translations and English voice acting aren't that bad. I'm not gonna say all of them are good, but they're not that bad anymore. I mean, you know, even I would say, what game had a really good? I think had a Trinity Universe had a good cast of voice actors. Even Hyperdimensional Neptune had a good cast of voice actors. I mean, they sounded just as spunky, just as, cheerful as their Japanese counterparts. And, Disgaea 4. That was a great team of people that did voice work. I mean, Desco. Desco's voice actor was great in Disgaea 4. I love her voice. She did Desco really well. You gotta tone down your standards when it comes to English voice acting. I mean, come on now. Just buying a game just because it had dual audio. I can't even play a game. I watch subs just as much as the next guy. I watch as many subs for anime as I possibly can. But even if the game had dual audio, I would definitely just leave it in English. Even if the voice acting was bad, I would just leave it in English. Because I really don't care. Because nowadays, it's not like every single game that comes over here voice-wise is as bad as One Piece. One Piece not fun, for kids dub. It's not as bad as that. A recent game that came out, I think it was a year ago, 2010, Arc Rise and Tasia. That had a horrendous dub. I mean, just a god awful dub. But most games that have come out, Disgaea 4, they don't have that bad of dialogue, and you can tell by the English trailer that was released a couple of days before for Tales of Graces. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, what, did we all have the sound as good as, I don't know, what's a good game or a good anime that has a really good dub? I don't know. I can't think of any on the top of my head. I'll probably list something in annotations or something like that. But you know what I mean. I mean, keep an open mind here, people, especially with a game like this. If you want to see other games, Tales of Exalia, I don't know, Tales of Hearts, Tales of Innocence. If you want to see those games, don't let a stupid reason like it doesn't have dual audio, so I'm not buying it, derp, 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 derp. Don't let a stupid reason like that prevent you from buying the game. I mean, come on now. And you wanted to see this game for a while. You're going to let a simple reason like dual audio keep you from buying it? Keep an open mind here, people. Come on. Okay. What else do I want to talk about? I ran on for a while now. I think I'm going to stop this video here.